The Dance of Dragons, that was the flowery and poetic name that the singers gave to an event that led to incomparable death and destruction in Westeros. The savage internecine struggle for the Iron Throne of Westeros would be better described by the term the Death of Dragons. When King Viserys' son and daughter sent their forces to the battlefield, everyone died and everything burned. However, there were a few dragons that survived the dance and lived to see a new era in Westeros. Among these few lucky dragons was Silverwing, the dragon who was first ridden by Queen Alysanne Targaryen, the wife of the old King Jaehaerys. Over time, the dragon took part in several adventures before becoming riderless. In this video, we will explore Silverwing's origins and dive deep into the many adventures she went on. Let's begin, shall we? Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Silverwing and Queen Alysanne Targaryen. The egg from which Silverwing hatched had been placed in the cradle of Queen Alysanne Targaryen by her sister, Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen. Rhaenyra was also the wife of Maegor the Cruel, so yes, Maegor had also married one of his nieces, much like Daemon does before the Dance of Dragons when he marries Rhaenyra. Nevertheless, Silverwing hatched sometime between 36 AC and 42 AC, because when King Aenys, Alysanne's father, died in 42 AC, Silverwing contributed her flames to the funeral pyre of the dead king. Along with Silverwing, the other two dragons who contributed their fires were Quicksilver and Vermithor. King Aenys was the second Targaryen king and the son of Aegon the Conqueror with his sister wife Rhaenys. After his death, his half-brother Maegor took the throne after imprisoning the young Prince Jaehaerys, Princess Alysanne, and their mother Alyssa. Maegor was the son of Visenya and Aegon the Conqueror, and it was Visenya who kept Alyssa and her children as hostages on Dragonstone. However, the stranger came for Dowager Queen Visenya later that year, which gave Alyssa and her children the opportunity to escape from Dragonstone. By now, Alysanne had claimed Silverwing while Jaehaerys had claimed Vermithor. Between 42 AC and 48 AC, King Maegor ruled with an iron fist and earned the infamous title of Maegor the Cruel. He would slaughter thousands of innocent men and women, including septons, septas, and men who built Maegor's holdfast within the Red Keep. It proved too much for the realm to bear, and he was found dead on the Iron Throne itself, with one of the blades impaled into his neck. While some believe Maegor was murdered, others feel that the Iron Throne itself took Maegor's life. Whatever the case, the siblings Rhaenyra, Jaehaerys, and Alysanne came to King's Landing on Dreamfire, Vermithor, and Silverwing, so that Prince Jaehaerys could rightfully claim the throne. King Jaehaerys was still young when he assumed his kingly duties, but then young hearts beat the hardest, and Targaryen blood boils the warmest. The king and his sister Alysanne found themselves in love with each other and wished to get married. However, Queen Regent Alyssa Velaryon and Hand of the King, Rhaegar Baratheon, were against this match. Ultimately, the king and Princess Alysanne flew on Vermithor and Silverwing to get married secretly. They tied the knot at Dragonstone and lived there until Jaehaerys came of age. The long reign of King Jaehaerys was one of peace and prosperity. Naturally, he got enough time to guest with lords and ladies of his realm and host audiences with the people of numerous towns and villages. The royal couple would go on each of these visits on their mighty dragons. We're not suggesting that the royal couple's primary objective was vacationing, but yeah, these guys did travel a lot. Anyway, it was in 58 AC that Queen Alysanne would travel to the north on Silverwing's back, and it was a journey that quite transformed the future of House Targaryen. So Queen Alysanne and the king were supposed to visit White Harbor, Winterfell, and the Wall together, but a few kingly preoccupations of Jaehaerys kept him from joining Alysanne and Silverwing on their journey north. So the queen decided to go on a solo trip to the northern reaches of her kingdom. She reached White Harbor first and was welcomed by thousands of northerners who had come to gape at the queen's dragon with awe and terror at the same time. Of course, the natural reaction that anyone has after witnessing a dragon first time is one that's filled with fear and fascination. But as the queen reached Winterfell, Silverwing did not receive such a pleasant welcome. Lord Alaric Stark, the then Lord of Winterfell, had heard all about the fall of Harrenhal. The thought of a dragon in his home scared him, for he feared a similar fate as Black Harren's cursed castle suffered when Aegon the Conqueror invaded and burned down the Magnificent architecture. And yet, Queen Alysanne's charm was such that she convinced the scared lord to approach the dragon. By now, the queen had already visited 2 castles and was on the last leg of her journey. The wait for her king made her grow weary and restless. And honestly, she did not have much to do in a strange land with no kin. So the queen decided to go on another adventure with her dragon. She began her journey towards the wall and stopped at several inns on the way, including Last Hearth. Ultimately, when the queen reached her destination, the wall, the men of the Night's Watch found themselves caught in the same feeling of awe and terror that the people of White Harbor had felt. The sight of Silverwing was a novelty for the men of the Night's Watch, most of whom were northerners. But it soon became apparent that Silverwing did not like the wall. The dragon would snap and hiss at every chilly gust of wind that came from beyond it. We should note that wind must have flown from south of the wall as well, but Silverwing did not loathe these southern gusts of wind. Furthermore, the queen tried on at least 3 different occasions to fly her dragon north of the wall, but Silverwing would not budge. She simply refused to follow her rider's commands and veered south each time. What makes the matter more curious is the fact that Silverwing had never previously disobeyed the commands of Alysanne. We know this because she complained about the same in a letter to Jaehaerys. So what was it beyond the wall that Silverwing feared, or at least disliked? Did she know that the death awaited her beyond the wall? Was she afraid of meeting the same fate as Daenerys' dragon Viserion met at the hands of the Night King? Nevertheless, Alysanne flew Silverwing back to Winterfell after King Jaehaerys arrived there, and the two of them returned to King's Landing before making pit stops at Torrhen Square and Barrowtown. A few decades later, Queen Alysanne rode Silverwing for the last time in the year 93 AC. She had grown old and weak and climbed her lovely dragon while her eyes shed tears of pain. 7 years later, the queen passed away of old age and left Silverwing riderless. Sowing of the seeds. Although most of the dragons, including Balerion the Black Red, had been living at the Dragon Pit, Silverwing had chosen to stay at the Red Keep itself so that she could stay closer to her rider. But after Alysanne's death, the dragon made her lair in one of the smoking caverns of Dragonmont in Dragonstone. For more than 2 decades, the dragon remained without a rider until Prince Jaehaerys called the men and women of Dragonstone to claim the several unclaimed dragons in Dragonstone, a job that seems to have transferred to Prince Daemon in House of the Dragon. The sowing of the seeds was an event in which Targaryen and Velaryon bastards, among others, tried to claim riderless dragons like Silverwing, Sheepstealer, Vermithor, and Sea Smoke. They were promised titles, lands, and other privileges by Prince Jaehaerys if they succeeded in their attempts. A bastard girl named Nettles claimed the wild dragon Sheepstealer. Hugh Hammer claimed Vermithor. Adam Velaryon, previously Adam of Hull, claimed Sea Smoke, while Silverwing went to a man named Alf White. If we are to believe Mushroom, the court jester, even he tried to ride Silverwing. According to him, Silverwing was the most docile of all the dragons at Dragonstone, and he believed that he could give the she-dragon a shot. However, the tale did not end quite well for Mushroom. As the dragon burned his tushy and clothes, the jester ran across Dragonstone and jumped into a well to douse the flames. Adventures of Silverwing in the First Battle of Tumbleton. When Queen Rhaenyra took charge of King's Landing, Alf White and Silverwing alighted atop Hill of Rhaenys, just outside of the Dragon Pit, where the she-dragon made her lair. But it wasn't before long that the dragon had to go to battle, so Tumbleton was the last major stronghold separating King's Landing and a strong high tower host. So it became necessary that the market town of Tumbleton had to be garrisoned and protected at all costs. Alf White and Hugh Hammer were chosen as the dragon riders who would go to Tumbleton and help the soldiers who were supporting Rhaenyra. However, a few of the High Tower soldiers left their camps and came to join the Blacks. But this was just another plot. They had actually been sent by the Greens to cause defections in the ranks of their opposition. They successfully managed to defect Alf White and Hugh Hammer, who would later be remembered as the two betrayers. By now, the High Tower host had Daeron Targaryen's dragon, Tessarion, as well. This could be another reason why the betrayers did what they did. Previously, they had fought the battle at the Gullet against the Triarchy. However, in this battle, all the dragons were fighting on one side and the dragon riders felt confident. Hugh Hammer and Alf White probably did not wish to face Tessarion on a battlefield and thought it was better to join hands with Daeron and the High Towers. And yet another reason could be that the actions of these men were motivated by avarice instead of cowardice. Possibly, the messengers from the Green faction came bearing better offers and promises than what they had from the Blacks. The two men had been given lands in Driftmark and had been anointed as knights, but they wanted more. They wanted to be lords. So Silverwing joined Tessarion and Vermithor in burning down Tumbleton, an event so horrific that the town could never reach its former glory. In a jiffy, the market town of Tumbleton had turned into a field of fire. Shops, homes, septs, people, everything burned. The loud cries and roars of dragons were covered in the shrieks and cries of countless men, women, and children that burned to their deaths. And just like that, the first battle of Tumbleton changed the course of the battle, and Rhaenyra lost not only a strategic castle, but also 2 great dragons and a powerful army. Silverwing in the Second Battle of Tumbleton. As soon as the word of treason reached Queen Rhaenyra at King's Landing, she was left fuming. The queen had to face so much betrayal all her life that now she started expecting it from everyone, even those most loyal to her. When Lady Misery told her that Nettles might be sleeping with Daemon, Rhaenyra wasted no time and ordered the arrest of Adam Velaryon and Nettles. However, both of them managed to escape, but Adam wanted to prove his loyalty to the queen and her cause and came with a strong force of 4,000 men and the dragon Sea Smoke. He surprised the Hightower force at night. Interestingly, Ælfwein was a drunkard and slept through the night, but his dragon Silverwing managed to take flight. Some men tried to kill the dragon, but she flew higher and did not come down until the battle was over. She came back the following morning and found that her companion, Vermithor, lay dead. She tried to lift Vermithor's wing as if to revive the dead dragon, but obviously to no avail. After this, Ælfwein was poisoned by the Greens because he wished to become the king, citing that Princes Daeron and Aemond were dead and the King Aegon II was nowhere to be found. Silverwing once again became riderless and was last seen during the reign of Aegon the Younger on a small island in Red Lake, which was on the northwestern side of the Reach. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.